next industry presentation by Mr. Avanish Mundhra, founder and CEO Cantilever Labs. Can we give him a big round of applause, please?
Hey, good afternoon. I'm coming in this setup for the first time. This is the first time that we have got a stall here. And my next slide will tell you that how newbie I am into this kind of setup. So there is a menu how to make fish curry. And we are in an edtech setup. So the idea, all of us must have heard this quotation that give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, feed him for the life. But I genuinely have a concern over there. If I go and fish 100 fishes today, what do I do with it? Either you teach me how to make a fish curry, or you teach me selling skills, and probably then I'll be able to make a living. And that's where Cantilever Labs comes into picture, that we actually come in once the college have done their job and how to get students ready for placements. So what Cantilever Labs do is, we typically work with colleges, upskilling their students, getting them ready for placements. The smallest program that we do is for 3 days, and the longest program that we do is for 3 years. And we take care of the entire 360-degree, the entire spectrum of placement which comes to coding, aptitude, soft skills, resume making, interview, HR interview, and the final round wherein after that, the job letter comes in. So what we have done so far, this has been the journey. We have been started in 2018. I am the founder. My name is Avanish. Before starting Cantilever Labs, I used to work in a finance firm where I was heading the global division. I was managing 2 continents, Asia and Africa. And over and above my work, I was very passionate about coaching, teaching, mentoring. So since 2009, I've been a guest lecturer, recruiter, mentor across all IITs, IIMs, NITs, BITS, and all the private colleges. And one thing that probably all of us know is that there is a gap between industry and academia. In 2016, I was invited for a session in one of the IITs where 25 college heads were there and 25 corporate heads were there. And they say everybody in the world knows there is a gap, but can you quantify the gap? Because till the time I don't know the number, I don't know for how long do I have to chase. Because if I tell you the gap is 100 years, I'll give up today. Because 3 generations of Mundhra family would be needed to fill the gap. And I don't know what my son would be doing, and I don't know about my grandkids, obviously. So I'll give up the race today. But in that meeting, the conclusion was the gap is 7 years, which basically means what is needed by industry in 2023 as per the academic system will be taught in 2030. And mind you, this meeting happened in 2016, and the second conclusion of the meeting was the way startups are exploding, this gap will become 13 years. What is needed in 2023 will be taught in 2036, and that's where the seed of Cantilever Labs was sown in my head. I came back, I resigned. In fact, it's a very interesting story. 3rd of December, I was interviewing at IIT Bombay. Right after my interviews, I wrote my resignation letter. 4th, I was in Madras. 5th, I was in Guwahati. 7th, I was in Kharagpur. 8th, I came back to Hyderabad, and I gave my resignation letter that I want to do something here as far as education and skilling space is concerned. So Cantilever Labs has been operational since 2018, and this is what we have done. Collaborated with close to 120 colleges, universities, trained, placed, assessed, mentored close to 1,15,000 students. And we work with all the, I would not say, I don't like to categorize institutes into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, but whatever their system is, we work with all the colleges. For example, we work with all the IITs, Bombay, Madras, Kanpur, Kharagpur, Roorkee, Dhanbad. We work with BITS, SRM, Geetam, VNR, VJIT, Chitkara, JNTU. We work with all the local players when it comes to CMR, Gitanjali, Shivnadar, and we work with the hundreds of other colleges, and we are there day in and day out, helping, training, assessing students, getting them ready for future, whether it is placements, whether it is higher studies, but getting them ready for the world which is outside the college, which is not a very comfortable and cozy world, because right now you are in the comfort of your home and probably your college, but once out, you are out in the open, and we get them ready for that. We have a very clear and a very strong customer obsession. Frankly, this is something that I absolutely copied from Amazon because their customer obsession I absolutely love. And we have a very, very strong customer obsession. And because of this, we have a tech team, we have a very strong content team, we have a very strong training and delivery team, but we don't have a sales and marketing team. 90% of the colleges where we have collaborated, they have repeated with us. Everybody has been with us for 3, 4, 5 years. And 50% of the visits that we generated is because college A reported or recommended college B that Cantilever Labs is good, why don't you guys take over? So that's why we don't really have a sales and marketing team, but we have a very strong content and tech team. Now, we are in an EdTech summit, and EdTech, by all probabilities, can be easily categorized into a classic maze and a super duper craze. One of the things that I genuinely feel when I was back in my colleges, I cannot study beyond my college hours because hardly there's any time and there's any energy left. So what we do in Cantilever Labs is we blend and mix our curriculum with the existing college curriculum. I don't know if you guys know, but there's a very interesting story. When Parsis came to India and they floated near Gujarat, they wanted to settle in India. But the king of Gujarat at that point of time, Mr. Rana, is a very gentleman, but he knew that there is absolutely no space for Parsis to have their settlement in India. So there's a very classic story. He called the head of Parsi, the Zoroastrians, to his court, and he gave him a glass of milk which is filled till the brim. It was his idea to say that we are totally filled, there is no space. What Parsi, the head of Parsi family did is, he took a spoon of sugar and he blended in the milk. And he said, we don't need extra space. On the contrary, we'll make the content extra sweeter. So what we do at Cantilever Labs is, we don't need extra hours, we don't need extra labs, we don't need extra time. We blend our curriculum inside your curriculum in such a manner that student is entering a class not knowing whether it is a class which is being given by college or it is a class which is being by Cantilever Labs, but yes, the placement readiness is happening. So I come from an extremely old school. In the word EdTech, for me, ed is more important than tech. And there is a Panchatattva element. There's a 5 elements that we move around every class that we do. Because if I have to tell you, if there are 2 people in the class, she might be very, very smart. I am not very, very smart. But the person who's supposed to deliver will deliver with the pace at which he or she is supposed to deliver. He won't pace up for her. He won't slow down for me. Because there is curriculum to catch up. There is academic syllabus to cover. And there is no slowdown which is happening. In that case, what happens? So what we do is, before the class, we send everybody a simple doc, which is a pure 2-minute doc, which will probably bring both of us, a not so bright student and a very, very bright student, on the same level, which we call the pre-doc. Then there is class. Inside the class, we make sure that students are doing assignments on our platform. So there is a physical training, and there's an online assignment happening, which is crude practice of what you have just learned. After the class, there is a postdoc. And after every 5 classes, a student have to do a test which basically tests what he or she has learned. And these are the 5 elements that we move around every single session that we do at Cantilever Labs. What it does to us is, it probably takes the control away from the trainer and give it to us. There's a lot of tech involved, there's a lot of consistency involved. And that ways, we can give results anywhere, whether it is IIT Bombay, whether it is Malla Reddy, whether it is Chitkara University, or whether it is Shiv Nadar. We just have to switch gears, and the entire control is in our hands. As far as tech is concerned, in the EdTech part, as I said, we focus a lot on ed. As far as tech is concerned, we have built 3 beautiful tools, in which one is for students, one is for college management, and one is for trainers. That student tool basically takes care of the entire journey. Right from thinking that I want to work at Amazon to actually starting working at Amazon, we have created that in 6 simple steps. It's very, very important to break. If I have to travel, if I have to go to Mount Everest, I need to go to the base camp 1, and then camp 2, camp 3, and eventually the summit. And we have divided that into 4, because if I see Mount Everest in the morning, I might as well go back home because I will never be able to go there. So we have broken it down into small chunks, small processes. And the 6 steps that we do is done on our platform, which starts from thinking that I want to work at Amazon till the final HR interview. And in between, there is resume making, there is training, there is learning, there is projects, there is hackathon, and then there is a final interview. Every single thing is done with us. The trainers are physically going to colleges, and all the training, assessments, projects, hackathon is happening on our platform. So it's a pure phygital model, which is physical plus digital. What I genuinely feel is, whether I understand Java, Python or not, but I do understand mathematics, and we try to keep everything mathematical. And what we try to do at Cantilever Labs is, we equate LHS to RHS, because every single student in the class is not the same, and we need to understand that. So we have made entire Cantilever Labs, the model, the style, the delivery, everything very, very mathematics. And what we try to do in a very, very simplistic manner is, If I want to be in Amazon, a simple thing is go do coding, learn data structures, dynamic programming algorithm, and you can crack Microsoft, Amazon, Google. But they know it. They don't need me and you to say that. Point is, how do I do it? Can you give me a path? The next statement is practice, practice, practice. But can you quantify? Can you make mathematics to it? And this is the maths that we genuinely feel is there. If you have done 100 to 200 codes in your life, you'll be cracking Accenture, TCS, Capgemini. If you crack 200 to 450 codes, then you'll be cracking Oracle, ServiceNow, NCR Corporation. If you have cracked to along 550, you'll be cracking Amazon, Microsoft, and beyond that is Google, Apple, and Twitter. What we have done in this mathematics is we give a number to every code that you write on our platform. You have a footprint, and you know exactly what is unlocking for you after 200, 500, 1,000 codes, and that is how we try to keep it very, very mathematical. More than over and above the coding part, what we also tell students is you need to be very, very confident. Of course, everybody knows that, but a lot of time I tell my student is I might not like your answer, but I might like your confidence. And on the confidence, I'll rope you in. So I'll give you one classic case study that happened, and maybe it would be lovely to have your involvement here. So there were 3 college students who were being interviewed, and the question that was asked was very simple: what is 2 plus 2? College A student said, a unique solution exists. He filled the whiteboard and said a unique solution exists. College B student said that 3, but we'll make it 5 just to be safe. Any guesses what a Cantilever lab student will say? Any guesses, anybody? Okay, Cantilever lab students shuts the door, closes the curtain, and asks the interviewer, how much do you want it to be? And that is the skill set, that is the confidence we are trying to ingrain in the students. And that is why a lot of time colleges are incorporating Cantilever Labs program in the formative year as early as first year, second semester. And we go on till 4th year, first semester. We are with them in the journey and probably beyond that also. So I'll quickly sum it up what we do. We cover the entire spectrum, right from live training sessions inside the class, projects, assignments, hackathon, and industry talk, exciting competition. And we club it up with a beautiful certification. So by the end of the day, not only do you have a good learning, but you have an attestation and verification of it that you have done something good. You have great projects to show on your resume and to talk about in your interview. And you have a beautiful certification for that. Our simple vision is that we want to be the default training and placement cell for every college. You want any training at any point of time, Cantilever Labs is there. And eventually, we also want to place students. Right now, we are only focusing on one ecosystem, which is training. But very soon, we want to close the loop so that we are the one who are training and we are the one who are placing. I just have 1 more minute left, so I'll just quickly close this present story. I'm sure all of you guys have heard this cap merchant and monkey story. Yes, no, please? Yes, okay. I'll quickly tell you. So there was a cap merchant, a very fine guy, who used to make fantastic caps. And once he thought that he wanted to diversify, so 7 days he invested, built around 100 odd caps, took it in a bag and said to his wife that I'm going to a neighboring village to sell it. Wife said, okay, it's a long journey. She packed some lunch and he started in the morning. In between there was a jungle. It was mid-afternoon. He was hungry, he was thirsty, he was sleepy. He had his food and he slept and he kept his bag underneath a tree and he thought he'll take a quick nap. You remember the story? Yes, no? Sir, I could not hear. Please, yes, no? Okay. So he slept, and when he got up, he found that there are no caps. And he thought there is a theft. So he looked around, right, left, front, bottom. There was nobody over there. So he shouted. No one responded. So he looked up to the gods. He looked up to the sky in frustration and anticipation that God will help. And when he looked up, what did he see? He saw the monkey sitting on the tree wearing his caps. You remember the story? Yes, no? Okay, finally I got a no. He was frustrated with my questions. Okay. So what he did, he shouted at them, they shouted back. He threw stones, they threw back. Whatever he was doing, they were also doing. So in a frustration, he picked his cap and he threw on the ground. And every single monkey threw the cap on the ground. Happily, he collected the bag and left. This is what we have read till date. Today, I'll tell you what happened after that. 20 years later, the same cap merchant's grandson went to the same forest. He wanted to sell caps in the nearby forest. He sat under the same tree. He was also hungry. So he opened his food, he ate, and then when he slept, he also saw the entire caps are gone. But his grandfather had told him the story, and he knew the drill that who was taken the cab. Just to make it more hysteric, he shouted left, right, no one responded. Then he looked up, and suddenly he saw all the cabs on the heads of the monkeys on the tree. He already knew because his grandfather had told the story, and he knew the drill how to get the cabs. So he shouted, they also shouted back. He threw stones, they also threw the stone. He was acting. And then he picked his cap and he threw on the ground. When he picked his cap and threw on the ground, a baby monkey came from the tree. He picked up the cap and gave a tight slap to this boy. And he told him, so you think only you have grandfathers. What I'm trying to tell you here is, a lot of time our system is driven by seniors. What seniors have done, they will also do, and they will ape. But even recruiters have seniors. I've been on a recruiter side from a long period of time. Students have WhatsApp group with their seniors. Recruiters also have WhatsApp group, and they have come out from the same system. We try to understand the story of both sides of the system and then ingrain in Cantilever Labs. That was my time. Thank you so very much.
The request Professor S.P. Singh, Vice Chancellor, to please join us on the stage and present a moment or two, sir, right here with us.